Since January, ultra-trail runners travel the globe to discover some of the most amazing places for running. The Ultra Trail World Tour hosts indeed some of the most challenging and epic mountain races across Asia, Europe, and Americas. The season 2017 is coming to an end, and we're heading towards the French Alps to cover the CCC and TDS, two sister races of the famous UTMB. Then we cross the Atlantic to another French-speaking country, Quebec, for the Harricana Ultra Trail. The CCC, which stands for Courmayeur-Champais-Chamonix, is essentially the last 100 kilometers of the UTMB course. With a start on the Friday morning in Italy, this race is a great stepping stone for those hoping to run UTMB one day. The 100k race starts at 9 a.m. in Courmayeur, Italy. It takes runners through Champais, Switzerland, before finishing in Chamonix, France, for a total of 6,500 meters of climbing. Clear skies welcomed the 1,900 runners on the Italian side of the Mont Blanc, while the French side was still drenched from heavy rains the day before. Such weather helps lifting the spirits for the journey ahead. Participants soak in every moment during the final minutes before the start. A countdown in Italian sends off the runners into the Mont Blanc Massif. Spectators and fans have lined up on the course to cheer on the runners for their long journey ahead. The first portion on the road spreads the field and calms down the excitement of the runners before they hit the first single track. In a matter of minutes, the runners leave behind the Val d'Aoste as they start the first climb. The pack breaks down and runners line up on the single track and get on with the pace. Quick shuffle or power hiking, runners pick the most appropriate technique to maximize efficiency.
Je me sens bien. Je pense avoir à peu près bien récupéré de la hard rock en termes de fatigue générale. Les jambes vont bien, la tête aussi. Je suis contente d'être là. Et, tout devrait bien aller.
The pace is fast early on in the lead pack. The focus is on the effort rather than on the surrounding landscape and typical houses of the region. They have gone in their zone, performance is the priority. As the course reaches new heights, the last signs of civilization disappear. The first climb to Tête de la Tronche is long and relentless. First opportunity for the top contenders to make a move and create a gap on their competition. All runners are now facing extremely steep terrain, and walking becomes the only option for both the leaders and the mid-pack runners. Bent over on their poles or using their hands to push harder on the legs, runners use their own technique to make it to the next checkpoint. The cutoff times are already becoming a concern for the back-of-the-pack runners. Once over the top, the downhill becomes the next challenge. A false relief for the runners. It feels easier on the cardio, but going too hard could lead to quad and IT band pain in the later stage of the race. Weather conditions are ideal and a rather dry trail makes the descent less slippery. Despite clouds that come and go, the runners can carry on safely through their journey around Mont Blanc. Hayden Hopes is in the lead and has now created a comfortable gap on the rest of the field. He successfully made the transition from track and road running to trail running. Further back, runners are making it into the Refuge Bonatti at their own pace. This is the second aid station, 20 kilometers into the race. Where race management is key to success, this makes the perfect spot to regroup before heading back out. For a lot of the participants, this is a step into the unknown, and appreciating the surrounding mountains is definitely part of the experience.
For me, it's my first year of ultra running. I'm just looking forward to learning from the mountains and learning with these other amazing athletes I'm going to be running alongside. I've had a fairly busy last couple of months racing the Eiger and in my preparations now for the marathon. So for me, anything is possible. I've proven this year in Marathon des Sables and in the Eiger. So I'm just really looking forward to a good, strong performance that I'm happy with. I'm yet to see Rashid. He's being very sensible and getting lots of rest at the moment, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him later on today. So we'll see how it happens on the day. I know he likes to start off nice and slow and just get stronger and stronger throughout the race. And for me, I'm the other way around. I like to go off fairly hard, but I think for the race, for CCC, the race has got to be respected a lot. So I think we may find we'll be running with each other at the beginning, and we'll see what happens.
So far stable, weather conditions are changing on the climb up to Grand Col Ferret. Along with sun-covering clouds, strong winds make temperature drop extremely quickly. Soon, competitors will have to make their way through thick fog, requiring even more attention to stay on course and manage their effort. Moroccan runner Rachid El Morabiti, multiple winner of Marathon des Sables, is facing a completely different environment in the Alps. He is evolving an elite pack with other top athletes such as ex-pro triathlete Mike Agros or other well-known trail runners such as Tom Owens or Evely Clevery. This year, the Moroccan runner has chosen to leave his familiar desert to compete against the best trail runners in the world outside of his comfort zone.
Le choix de la CCC, vraiment, c'est de changer un peu le sable et de vivre une expérience sur la montagne. Thomas Evans, il est fort sur la montagne et j'espère de faire une bonne aventure ensemble.
Mike Agros has also left his field of expertise, transitioning from triathlon to trail running. A tensed face isn't a good sign for Nathalie Mauclair. The French runner would later drop out of the race. The 20-kilometer past Grand Col Ferret is a never-ending downhill section before starting to climb again towards Champais in Switzerland. It's a one-man show in the lead. Hayden Hawkes is clocking fast miles for his first participation in the race. 2017 UTMB winner Ludovic Pomeray is working hard to bridge the gap while trying to resist Polish runner Sivek, who's coming back strong. Halfway into the race, Rachid El Morabiti is looking strong in 4th position. Swiss runner Mike Egros is fighting for top 5, even though the finish line is still miles away. Tom Owens capitalizes on his experience and seems to have his pace well under control. Fellow countryman Thomas Evans is right behind him, proving once again that he's learning fast and now belongs to the elite field. In the ladies' race, Maite Mayoria is sustaining her effort chasing a fresh and happy-looking American lady, Claire Gallagher. At this point in the race, Laia Canes rounds up the temporary podium as the journey comes to an end. At the Champet aid station, American runner Hoax looks composed and perfectly in control. With a 2:23 marathon time, such slower pace seems to have no impact on him. Ludovic Pomeray isn't giving up though, and knows that in ultra races anything could happen, even to Hoax. While nobody expected him to perform so well, Polish runner Zwirk is the dark horse of the day. He's still holding on to 3rd place, 50 kilometers into the race. Mike Egros has now passed El Morabiti, standing now in 4th position while Tom Owens is only a few strides back. Spanish runner Mayora doesn't have a second to spare trying to catch up with female leader Claire Gallagher. The morning sun of Courmayeur is long gone. Humidity rises as the evening lights are fading out. Hoax is still in the lead. Meanwhile, Zwirk has made a move on the downhill towards Trion and passed Ludovic Pomeray to take 2nd place. Thomas Evans is on a mission and overtook Mike Egros for 4th place. The race is definitely on.
La stratégie de course, c'est toujours difficile à dire, mais on a quand même du mal à laisser partir la tête. Donc si vraiment ça part vite devant, on essaiera quand même de les tenir pas trop loin. Maintenant, c'est pas tellement un objectif de partir rapidement. Je sais que la fin est quand même bien dure avec les 3 bosses qui nous restent. Donc on verra un petit peu aussi en fonction des collègues qui sont sur la course, quoi. Hayden m'a dit qu'il resterait derrière moi au début, mais je ne le crois pas parce qu'il va s'ennuyer.
In Trion, and with 30 kilometers to go before the finish line, Zwirk is still 15 minutes back behind Hoax. Pomeray is fighting to save his spot on the podium and is now threatened by English runner Evans. The darkness of the night won't influence the final ranking. After 10 hours and 24 minutes of racing, Hayden Hoax takes an undisputed win after Mitchell Lann in 2016 and his fellow American Zach Miller in 2015.
It was, just an amazing course. I'd just like to thank the organization here and the fans. The organization puts on such an amazing race. Like, it was so well marked, the course was great, the aid stations were the best.
Poland takes 2nd place, 18 minutes back. Martin Zwerch hasn't realized yet what he's just accomplished.
Second place. Allez, attendez un applaudissement pour Martin. Accueilli par Eden Hawk.
2016 UTMB winner Ludovic Pomeray shows mixed feelings towards his third place.
De l'UTMB avec une superbe troisième place. Ici sur la CCC, Monsieur Ludovic.
C'est une belle place, mais je suis pas content de comment j'ai géré la course. Je pense que j'ai géré la course. Ouais, je pense que j'étais un peu prétentieux de vouloir suivre Hayden. Parce que sur la Foulie, sur la descente, ça envoyait vraiment du lourd, quoi. On avait des kilos qui descendaient à 3,30. Donc, ouais, moi, ça, je sentais bien que ça allait pas faire, là.
Thomas Evans left it all out there to finish fourth. The young soldier converted to trail runner confirms his talent, and we should see more of him in the future. Tom Owens lands a very strong 5th place behind Evans.
Cinquième.
Tom Owens, the 5th place of the CCC 2017.
Claire Gallagher charges all smiles towards an impressive win in the women's field, crossing the finish line in 12 hours and 13 minutes. At only 24 years old, the American runner has a bright future ahead of her. She joins a growing group of American runners with the potential of winning UTMB.
I actually did a 100-miler called Western States in June, and DNF'd at 93 with an injury. So I ran a lot in Colorado in the mountains as like mental recovery, and it worked out. I really want to do UTMB now. Yeah.
2 Spanish runners will complete the 2017 CCC Women's Podium. Maite Mayoria in 2nd place, 13 minutes back, and Laia Canes in 3rd.
The second lady to win the CCC, Maite from Spain. Yes!
Shortly after this end of August ultra running frenzy, the Ultra Trail World Tour carries on across the Atlantic in Quebec. A 117-kilometer course with 3,900 meters elevation gain takes place in the Charlevoix region. The Ultra Trail Harricana is located between Notre-Dame-des-Monts and the ski resorts Mont-Grand-Fond.
I can wait a little longer, that's alright.
Like students on their way to school, it's midnight when trail runners take place in the buses towards the start in the 7th edition of the race in Notre-Dame-des-Monts.
Today, she'll be here with me tomorrow night, and that's alright. That's alright.
The 150 participants are carefully listening to the race briefing. They will have 3 main climbs to overcome on a very lush course.
That train is moving down the line, but it don't always run on time. As long as it'll roll in here tonight, well, that's alright.
The streets of this remote village are empty at this time of the night. From in front of the church, runners are off in a very confidential atmosphere.
That's alright. Alright with me. That's alright. Alright with me. Right, alright, 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 alright. Is she coming in a little sooner? That's alright.
That's alright.
Is she coming in a little sooner? That's alright.
That's alright.
I got a dozen red roses and a bottle of wine. I'll be ready anytime. She'll be coming in a little earlier tonight. Well, that's alright. That's alright.
That's alright.
Alright with me. That's alright. Alright with me. That's alright. Alright with me. That's alright. Alright with me.
At dawn, the wilderness of Quebec welcomes the runners. The morning dew doesn't affect a very rolling course.
Well, that's alright. Alright with me. That's alright. Alright with me. That's alright.
Deep lake, running rivers, and dense forests make the Charlevoix region an idyllic scene for the runners coming from abroad.
That's alright. Alright with me. 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 That's alright. Alright with me.
Vivien Laporte from France will make the best out of this stage of the Ultra Trail World Tour and take the win in 12 hours and 48 minutes.
Très content du parcours parce que c'est vraiment un très très beau parcours, très sauvage, très technique et puis magnifique, hein, c'est vraiment magnifique. Il y a des points de vue, c'est très beau et je pense que c'est une course qui mérite à être connue.
Locals know how to create a chilled and welcoming atmosphere for all to genuinely enjoy one of the several race formats offered on a day. Winner of the day Sierra Keynes in the women's field and Vivien Laporte in the men's will still get their well-deserved ovation. Back to the Alps with the TDS, meaning Trace des Ducs de Savoie. The opening race of the UTMB week takes place on Wednesday in Chamonix. This race offers the wildest course of the week and might as well be the most technical of all too. Starting in Courmayeur and finishing in Chamonix, 119 kilometers and 7,200 meters of gain later, the TDS contours the south part of the Mont Blanc Massif and won't go through Switzerland. The race isn't shy of challenges and can be as hard as UTMB. The 1,800 participants have a tough journey ahead. And for some of them, this is the last step towards racing UTMB one day. each year, elite runners line up on this race. The 2017 edition definitely delivered with names like Christophe Lesaut, Maud Gobert, Antoine Guillon and Michel Lannes. They're all in to perform and rack up some more points for the Ultra Trail World Tour. Behind the front line of elites, thousands of amateurs have come to experience the Mont Blanc from a different perspective from the CCC or UTMB. This race has a totally different flavor. The first light comes shining over the Arrêt du Montfabre, where Pascal Giguet is the first to arrive. Shortly after comes a chasing pack of runners. In the women's field, Mimi Kotka seems to have already created a strong lead as she runs down towards Lake Combal. .15k into the race, Michel Lannes has joined Giguet in the lead. One minute back comes a pack of 10 runners. Mimi Kotka, still leading the women's field, is only 10 minutes behind the overall leaders. An extremely fast start for the Swedish runner, running ahead of Lucie Bartholomew and French runner Maud Gobert, who took a more conservative start. A long string of runners crosses the high alpine field up to Col de Chavannes, setting a common pace for all runners. Now in the lead, Michel Lannes sets the pace on the climb up to Col du Petit Saint-Bernard. The early shades of light come through the clouds to highlight the magnificent colors of the local massif. A third of the way cleared, the gap between the leaders are growing in a landscape made of endless cow fields. At the top of the Petit Saint-Bernard, spectators are waiting for the runners. This is the first major aid station of the race and the opportunity to restock, regroup, and recover before heading back out. A 15K downhill section takes the runner to Bourg-Saint-Maurice. At kilometer 50, Michel Lannes is alone in the lead, followed by Pascal Giguet and Sylvain Camus, both chasing from afar. The midday heat is taking its toll on the runners. A 1,000-meter climb over 5K is the next challenge awaiting the runners. They will then reach Fort de la Platte and Passeur de Pralognan to be rewarded with 360-degree views. Then comes a rocky and technical descent that Michel Lannes will hit first, followed by Daniel Young. Michel Lannes comes into Cormet de Roseland looking fresh and relaxed despite having already covered 66 kilometers. 5 minutes back come the Italian runner Daniel Young, Spanish runner Aspiros, Frenchman Sylvain Camus, Antoine Guillon, and Japanese runner Ose. While Mélanie Rosset greets her fans, others stop to enjoy a real meal before heading back out for the second half of the race. Still in the lead, Michel Lannes seems more than ever in control and composed. Daniel Young is securing a second position while the battle is on for third place between Sylvain Camus and Ion Aspiros. Antoine Guillon is using this race as a preparation for Le Diagonale des Fous, taking place 2 months later. True to a conservative race strategy, he is progressing at a well-calculated pace. He is now starting to come back on his competition.
D'habitude ça se passe pas comme ça. J'arrive à remonter à peu près tranquille. Mais là, il n'y avait rien à faire. J'arrivais pas à rentrer dans le top 5, j'arrivais pas. Même en tout donnant. Et puis à force, ça finit par remonter quand même. À l'usure quoi.
Ultra running is indeed a long grind where the most patient runners can be heavily rewarded, and the most careless severely punished. Japanese runner Ose was still in the game at this point but will have to drop soon after. Mimi Kotka isn't slowing down her incredibly fast pace. She's blasting through the course, leaving no chance to her competition, as she's standing high in the overall ranking. Away from the finish line, top spots are still up for grabs. Only 10 minutes separate the top men after a demanding 90-kilometer section. Sylvain Camus and Antoine Guillon are coming back strong and potentially threatening Michel Lannes, who's still in the lead.
Faire une course assez patiente. Comme d'habitude, j'y arrive pas. Donc je suis parti assez tôt et du coup, quand tu te retrouves devant assez tôt, ben, t'es vraiment chassé quoi. Et puis t'es un peu à l'aveugle, donc c'est vrai que les écarts ont stagné les 3/4 de la course. Et à la fin, je me suis dit, mais j'en peux plus mentalement, j'en pouvais plus d'avoir des écarts qui stagnaient, qui se réduisaient. Je me suis dit, il faut que tu donnes tout dans la montée au tricot. Et puis tu compteras les points en haut, si tu exploses, ben, tu auras tout donné. Et si tu tiens, ben, ça sera magique. Mais fais ça, joue-le comme ça. Et puis ça a porté ses fruits puisque j'ai creusé des écarts.
The sun is setting on the long climb up to Col de Tricot, where Michel Lannes has decided to put the hammer down on his competition, Sylvain Camus and Antoine Guillon. They won't fall without a fight and decided to team up to work together on the final section of the race.
Premier objectif sur la TDS, déjà, c'est de la terminer comme toute course. Mais bon, là, après, vu la préparation que j'ai faite, ça s'est plutôt bien passé, donc je suis assez confiant. Voilà, je vais pas me leurrer, hein, j'aimerais bien faire un top 3. Hein. Ce format de course me convient bien, tu cours un peu toute la journée, donc c'est un format de 15 heures à peu près. Moi, je compte essayer de mettre à peu près 15 heures, donc si j'arrive à faire ce que j'ai envie, ça devrait être positif à l'arrivée, quoi.
There are only 2 spots left on the podium for the 3 runners standing at Col du Tricot. A final fight took place in the last descent to Les Ouches, where the Camus-Guillon Association remained to resist Ion Aspiros. clouds are covering the early evening skies to welcome the winner Michel Lannes in Chamonix. He's repeated on the TDS his last year's CCC perfect race scenario. A new victory on the longer course should see Michel Lannes step up his game a bit closer to racing UTMB in the coming seasons. Sylvain Camus and Antoine Guillon chose to finish hand-in-hand to wrap up a shared effort in the latest stage of the race. True example of what the trail running spirit is all about. They came in only 3 minutes behind the winner to complete a podium 100% French. Spanish runners Ion Aspires and Francisco Bordas finished 4th and 5th respectively. The outstanding Mimi Kotka did not only win crushing the women's field, but she's also taken an extremely strong 10th place overall.
It was a really good race, especially the first half. I've never raced 120k, so I knew I was going to be really tired in the end, so I went out quite hard, and I was really tired in the end, and lost a bit of time, but yeah.
Maud Gobert finishes second, 2.5 hours back from the Swedish runner.
Je suis amplement heureux de cette deuxième place parce que j'étais juste partie dans l'objectif de terminer. J'avais pris le départ il y a 3 ans, j'avais fait une super course et j'avais chopé une insolation. J'ai dû m'arrêter au col du Joli, donc c'était dommage. Donc voilà, la boucle elle est bouclée.
Ildiko Vermecher rounds up the female podium. This is the beginning of a long night where countless runners will come into Chamonix to claim their very coveted finisher title. Early in the second morning of the race, UTMB creator and race director Michel Poletti crosses the finish line. Shortly after, he'll head back to race office to coordinate the next races of the week, CCC and UTMB, both scoring points for the Ultra Trail World Tour. Next stop for the Ultra Trail World Tour is on the Réunion Island at the end of October, for one of the iconic ultra races of the world, the Grand Raid de la Réunion. From Blue Lagoon to red lava volcanoes, through infamous valleys, a massive yet rewarding challenge awaits the runners. Last year, François Den took the win, offering the whole island a great show. He won't come defend his title as he's already guaranteed to win the Ultra Trail World Tour for the second time in his career after 2014.